New York is known for a lot of things, such as its beautiful buildings, its wonderful parks like this one right here in Battery Park City. But it's also known for its massive influx of Irish immigrants in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Right now in the United States, over 34 million people can trace back their ancestry to the Irish. But why did they come here back in the 1800s? It was for a very unfortunate reason. Because through 1845 to 1852, one of the greatest famines in history struck the Emerald Isle. And that drove many people to find refuge in a city like New York. And today we're going to go visit a memorial that is in honor of that great refuge to New York City. Let's check it out. I'm Ariel with Urbanist, and right now we are in New York City's Battery Park City, right at the end of Vesey Street. The beautiful Freedom Tower is right there in view, and right in front of us is the memorial for the Irish Hunger Memorial. And the Irish Hunger Memorial is in honor of the Irish Famine, in order to remember the lives lost in the Irish Famine and the people affected by the lives lost. So let's walk through, let's get into what is this piece of history that's not told so often. On the textbooks here in America, they only give a few lines. On textbooks in other places in the world, you might not even read about it. But let's walk inside. This is the entrance, and you're about to be shocked how we look like we're walking to a different landscape. And if you're just tuning, if you are watching for the first time, like this page, if you want to see more videos like this, and share this video with your friends and family. You're going to show them the beauty, the wonders, the secrets of New York City. So right over here we have a bunch of lines and quotes from the victims of the Irish famine, the Irish Potato Famine to be exact. Let's read one of them. If one could see into houses, it was rare that he saw any other thing than the bare walls, a rickety wooden stove, a small turf fire burning slowly and dimmingly between four flat stones. This was by Alexis Tocqueville's Journey in Ireland, a memoir. So she's painting a picture of how during that time of 1845 through 1852, Ireland became a very different place. It became empty, dying, slowly being bared without anything, without any hope to live for. And why was that? Well, it was because a huge famine struck in 1845. Most of the Irish at that time were dependent on eating the potato for sustenance. And then suddenly the potato got the blight. And the blight was a disease that struck the potato crop and destroyed in the very first year over 40% of the potato crop. Now, many of the farmers that were sustained by the potato lived in cottages just like these. This is a replica of one of those cottages in the Irish countryside. Now, that Irish blight was in part because the Irish only ate one specific potato. That was due to the limitations from the British government. Britain ruled over Ireland at that time, and no Irish Catholic could either own land or have an education. So the only people who really owned lands were British lords and British business people. That caused a big issue because most of those British business owners and lords weren't even in Ireland at that time. So they gave power to a few Irish landlords, most of them Protestant. those Irish landlords try to suck all the money off that they can. And of course, due to living in an economy that is far behind the Industrial Revolution, desperate to climb out and make a name for itself, you can't blame the people who are trying to make every buck as possible. But that left the Irish peasants, mostly Catholic, to work the land. Now, Ireland was plentiful in agriculture. There was agriculture for everyone. There was cows, pigs, dozens of types of vegetables and fruits, nuts, etc. Ireland, in essence, became Britain's supermarket. However, the Irish peasant was left with only a small little portion of land in each farm. And in that tiny little portion of land in each farm, they only had access to one type of potato. They didn't have access to the plentiful array of meats domesticated in that area, or the array of vegetables grown. Just one type of potato. And by all means, that was good enough. However, when the blight came, first striking Mexico and moving up through the US, and then being shipped out from New York and then hitting Europe, Europe wasn't that badly affected because the peasants in Europe ate a lot more than just the potato. But in Ireland, that was a different case. And suddenly 40% of the crop was mushy, brown, not edible at all. And that caused a great panic because no one had access to food at that time. So this here, we're suddenly transported into the Irish landscape. This was made by artist Peter Toll, landscape architect Gail Whitwer Laird, and in collaboration with the architect firm 1100 Architect. And they made this Irish landscape right over here with over 60 types of flora from all around the island of Ireland. All around, we also have rocks. We have 32 different rocks from each county in Ireland. Each rock is inscripted with the name of the county. For example, here we have Limerick. And then down here, let's see, can't really spot the name over here. Here we have Donegal. This does include both the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. 26 counties in the Republic of Ireland and 6 counties in Northern Ireland. Now, this is pretty much the landscape that most peasants grew up with here during that time in the Great Famine. However, suddenly this landscape was transformed. You had a thriving economy of huge farms suddenly be devastated by hundreds of thousands of people starving to death. Now, at that time, it's very controversial because England wasn't without food. They were still getting exported food from Ireland. Ireland was producing more food than ever before, but that food wasn't getting to the poor peasants. They only got food from the potato. And by 1847, 1848, around 90% of the potato crop was gone. Blighted, mushy, unedible. And by that point, 1 million were dying and over 1 million were leaving. The Irish landscape was completely transformed. And suddenly this Emerald Isle, known for its cheery folklore, its songs and still inspiration, was suddenly devastated by something that shouldn't have happened in the first place. And as I walk around here, I've never been to the Emerald Isle myself. I have not an ounce of Irish blood in me. But as I walk around here, I can feel a little bit, at least, of what those people might have gone through. It's almost unimaginable. Now, a good portion of those million plus that end up rising up to almost 2 million by 1852, or a few years later after that. Those 2 million people, a good portion of them came here to New York City. By the early 1900s, we had over 4 million Irish here in the United States. A good portion here in New York City, to a point where 1 in 4 New Yorkers were Irish. And of course, the Irish did not have an easy time here either. They were subjugated, constantly attacked by nativists who thought that they were people who worshipped the foreign ruler, aka the Pope, and that they did not deserve to be here. But despite all those troubles, despite all that poverty, despite all that crime, despite all that racism, the Irish pulled through here in the US and many other countries around the world, like Australia, South Africa, even the Caribbean. And they pushed through. Here in New York City, they end up becoming the majority in the New York Police Department and very high positions in government, even to the presidency with John F. Kennedy, who was of Irish ancestry. And now Ireland, despite this huge famine, or what they are now calling starvation, and what some people might even call genocide, it's very controversial. Despite all of that, Ireland has pushed through, and now it's become one of the most richest, happiest countries in the entire world. So hopefully, as we see this beautiful recreation of the Irish landscape, it's once again filled with hope. It's once again filled with a sense of moving forward and pushing that great Irish culture that is known all around the world due to the immigrants that moved all around the world, pushing that culture forward and making it something filled with happiness once again. So I hope everyone's enjoying this beautiful walk through the Irish Hunger Memorial. If you want to get here, there are basically every train stops by the Oculus, which is the World Trade Center Transportation Hub. We're right now in Battery Park City. It's about 2 blocks away from the E train, and there's a few trains right next to it. Right there is the Freedom Tower, and then we're surrounded by a bunch of buildings from Battery Park City. Right there is Brookfield Plaza, great mall to get food around. But I encourage you, next time you do eat a good meal here in New York City, especially after visiting this beautiful hunger memorial, take that food with immense gratitude, because the food that we eat, it might seem like it mysteriously appears right in front of our plates when we order from a amazing restaurant or eatery. But in essence, that food is made by thousands of people. And that food is something that, as easily as it comes on our plates as we're eating here in a grand city like New York, it can as easily be taken away. It can as easily be diseased and crops ruined, starving millions. But luckily that does not happen, because we have better infrastructure today and we learn from the mistakes of the past. But eat that food with immense gratitude. We read a few more stones. Here we have Mayo, we have Tyrone, forgive my Irish pronunciation, and let's see what we have over here. We have the County of Down. So if you're watching from Ireland or have Irish family, let me know, where is your family from? What county is your family from? it's a beautiful memorial also to come when you're here in New York City. And of course, with every single landmark, I always encourage everyone to touch it. Because when you touch it, you feel something. It's up to the person what they feel, but I feel always particularly closer to a structure when I end up touching it. And all around we have more excerpts from memoirs, from newspaper clippings during that time. And right behind us we have Battery Park City with the beautiful views of Jersey City and the ferries passing through. So thank you everyone so much for watching. My name is Ariel. This is Urbanist, a show dedicated to showing you the wonders of cities and its secrets. If you want to see more videos like this page, or subscribe to our channel and share this video with any friends and family that might want to learn a little bit more about New York City and its history. And if you're from Ireland, let me know, what county are you from? Thank you so much everyone for watching. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Have a great day.